told me anything about your plans. I don't even know the hotel where you'll be staying.
Looks like the Carrs are having dinner with the Kavanaughs. Oh, Calvin Stoner just walked in. I can't believe this. I know everyone in the restaurant.
That isn't so unusual, is it?
Wait a minute. Is this deliberate?
What do you mean?
Yes. It is deliberate. It's a party. It's a surprise farewell party. Why didn't you tell me I'm not dressed properly? Gavin Wiley. I thought he was in prison.
All right, Sid. We're all here.
What's going on here?
Now listen to me. No one here means you any harm. Quite the opposite.
Why is everyone staring at me?
Mike, if you would, please.
Raven, we're here to talk to you about something as important to you as it is to us.
Like what?
We want to tell you a few things we believe you don't know, privately and confidentially.
Did you know about this?
Yes, Raven, I did it. It seemed to me the only way we could get you to listen.
We know that you and Skylar are going abroad, so we thought this would be the only chance for us to explain a few things.
What do you know about that? Little private party just to talk to me, huh? Well, I guess I should be flattered.
We hope you'll be patient.
All right. What do you want? Why are you here? And why are you out of prison?
I was let out for the holidays until my trial.
You're not going to be around for that trial, are you, Raven?
The prosecution hasn't called either you or your husband, Raven, because there wasn't sufficient reason. But perhaps if you listen to what we have to say...
Don't you dare interfere with my trip, because I will not allow that.
We have no intention of doing that. But we understand that you're going to be gone for a while.
Yes, the entire winter, I hope.
And while you're gone, a jury may decide to send Gavin Wiley to prison. A decision which may not be fully justified.
But what does that have to do with me? I didn't kill Gunther.
We just want you to listen, Raven.
No! I won't! I'm leaving.
Raven, please.
Yes, please. Don't you see? We need your help.
Raven, I know this looks like some kind of kangaroo court, but I assure you it's nothing of the kind. We're not here to judge you. In fact, we're here to present evidence for you to judge.
Well, that's a switch.
I'm sure you think you know the facts about Gunther's death. You must have read about the details of the shooting.
Yes, I did. I know all that I care to know.
What do you know?
I know the same thing everyone else knows, and that is that Gunther showed up at the dance studio, and she was there, and he decided to have a little fun.
He assaulted me, Raven.
Yeah, well, I wasn't there, so what do I know?
Well, what do you think happened?
I think that he showed up, pulled out a gun, and shot Gunther dead.
I don't think you know even the basic facts, Mrs. Whitney.
Well, he asked me what I thought. Who are you?
Oh, you don't know my law partner, Didi Bannister.
This is really ridiculous. I mean, why are you asking me all these questions? Is it because you can't get me to show up to be a witness?
No, as I said, we are the ones who are testifying, so why don't we start with Jody?
All right. Raven, you're basically right. That's how the whole thing started. When Gunther showed up at the studio and I was there alone with him. Only, it started before that. Because this wasn't the first time he bothered me.
Yes, I know. Gunther was an animal. Of course I know that. But that doesn't mean he deserved to be shot.
Look, I don't want to talk to you about Gunther. I want to talk to you about something Gunther had with him. A pocket watch.
Pocket watch?
Yeah, that's right. A beautiful antique watch on a gold chain.
Did you know that Gunther had that watch?
No. I didn't read about that in the papers, and usually don't watch the news on television.
We didn't cover that story, Raven. It hadn't been substantiated.
Perhaps that's because it isn't true.
Oh, yes, it is. It's very true. You see, Gunther was boasting about the watch. He said that your husband gave it to him as a reward for loyalty or something like that. He also said that his initials were in it, but they weren't in the proper order. The initials were SGW. I remember that very clearly. And I also remember it played a tune just like a music box. Later, I realized that the initials were your husband's.
There's no doubt about the description, Raven. It was the watch you gave Skylar as a wedding present.
That is impossible because my husband would never have given that watch to Gunther.
Well, it's possible that Gunther may have stolen it, of course.
No, it isn't because Sky had it. I saw it even after Gunther died.
Well, that's the heart of the matter, though, Raven. It wasn't found on Gunther's body. It was gone.
Obviously, someone removed it from the studio before the police arrived. The question is, who?
Should I tell her about Martine?
Yes, Jody.
Oh, God, what does she have to do with all this?
Martine saw the watch. Or at least a watch that looked like the one I described.
Yes, she saw it courtesy of her husband, Collier Wells, alias Carlo Crown.
As you know, Collier Wells decided to return everything he had stolen from you. Which is why the watch was back in your bedroom when...
When we broke into your house.
You mean when you tried to rob my house?
No, Raven, we had no intention of robbery. We just wanted to take a good look at that watch again to make sure it was the one that Jody saw because we figured it might be able to prove
Prove what?
that the person who was in that studio before the cops arrived was your husband.
That is insane because my husband was with me. Isn't that right, Geraldine?
He did leave the house, Raven. He received a phone call, said it was a business meeting.
There you see, he was at a business meeting.
Or he may have been at the dance studio retrieving his watch.
You're wrong.
We thought we were wrong for a while. You see, we confronted your husband about the watch. We asked to see it.
And it wasn't the same one. It looked like it, but it played a different tune.
Then why are we going through all of this?
What we're wondering is whether your husband was a couple of jumps ahead of us.
What do you mean?
Which means 2 watches.
If he had purchased another watch, similar to the one you had given him, but one that played a different melody.
You told me.
Raven, I knew nothing about it, any more than you did.
Is it true? Had Skylar bought a second watch?
Yes, my husband bought a second watch. What's wrong with buying a second watch?
There's nothing wrong with it unless he bought it to fool the police.
That's not true.
But it is true, Raven. He bought it from a kindly old jeweler named Hoffman.
Is that name familiar to you, Raven?
Yes.
Raven, we know you've seen both pocket watches, but we think that you've never realized their significance.
Oh, God. You're trying to send my husband to prison.
We are trying to keep Gavin out of prison, don't you see?
What are you doing here?
Good evening, Lillian. How are you tonight?
My name is Mrs. Goodman. Where did you get this Lillian stuff?
I fill out the tax forms, remember?
Yes, well, do me a favor and just keep calling me Mrs. Goodman, okay?
My, we're hostile tonight.
Listen, what are you doing here? Mrs. Kavanaugh's not home.
I know that.
And?
And I thought I'd come by and finish up a report that we started this morning.
Did she know you were going to be here?
Lillian, pardon me, Mrs. Goodman. Did you see an envelope I had on the top of the typewriter here?
I don't go near your desk.
Here it is.
Well, do I have to ask every question twice?
No, Mrs. Kavanaugh does not know I'm here, but she'll be very happy when I have this report typed for her in the morning.
Well, I think you should go.
I beg your pardon?
I know of a very good ear doctor.
There's nothing to worry about, Mrs. Goodman. I'm not going to ransack the place. I'm going to sit here quietly and do my job. Why don't you do the same?
I am the housekeeper here, which means that I live here all the time. You have a place of your own.
You don't trust me, do you?
That's right. I don't.
Well, Mrs. Kavanaugh does.
Yeah, well, she's entirely too trusting, if you ask me.
Well, I'll agree with you there. Especially when it comes to her husband.
Oh, you really think you're cute, don't you?
Let's face it, Mrs. Goodman. Dr. Kavanaugh is having a red-hot affair with his latest patient.
Listen, if you ever, I mean ever, say anything like that to her...
Don't worry, I wouldn't think of it. I mean, someone should, but someone who's a little more motherly. Like you.
Oh, you are really something.
Why don't you do it, Mrs. Goodman? You'd be doing her a favor. You'd be opening her eyes.
I'd really love to open her eyes to you.
Now, Mrs.
Nora.
Goodman. Spencer?
Yes?
It's Nora. I'm kind of surprised to find you home. I thought this was your night off.
I'm house watching tonight, Nora. I'm all alone.
Well, where's the gang? Out partying, huh? You know how those rich people are.
What do you want, Nora?
I'm kind of surprised that you're alone. I mean, I know that you haven't hired a new maid yet, but where's the cook?
She quit. Tonight.
My, you really have trouble holding on to your help, don't you?
Nora, I'd love to chit-chat with you, but there's someone at the door.
Spencer, please.
What is it?
Why don't you call me sometime? I really get lonely. I mean, I get lonely and scared.
I thought Dracula's daughter wasn't afraid of anything. Goodbye. Well, Detective Tyler, I thought you were in the hospital.
I was. I probably still should be. Hey, I didn't get your flowers.
Whitneys aren't home this evening. I'll tell them you called. Good night.
I understand the Whitneys are going to Europe.
That's correct. They didn't get your flowers, by the way. And there's really no point in waiting. They won't be home for some time.
Oh, that's okay, Spencer. If I can't talk to the Whitneys, I'll talk to you. Harry?
No, sir.
Well, didn't Mr. Whitney ask you to help him make the arrangements?
Mr. Whitney likes to handle those things himself.
Frankly, I find that really hard to believe, Spencer.
Sorry, sir.
Look, Spencer, the truth is that Mr. Whitney asked you not to give out any information about this trip, right?
It's a honeymoon, Detective.
Yeah, well, I've never been on one of those, but I guess a person would want a little privacy, wouldn't they?
I would think so, yes.
Look, I remember Raven. Mrs. Whitney said something about Switzerland. Am I right about that?
Is this a police matter?
Don't you think that they picked a kind of an unusual time to go on a trip?
Many people consider this the best time of year to go to Switzerland. In fact, my former employer would...
Your former employer what?
Mr. Bowie and his wife went on this time of year all the time.
Did you say Mr. Bowie?
I thought you knew everything about me, Detective.
Well, I know that you used to be his bodyguard, but that reminded me of something else.
What's that?
Well, I remember seeing his name in another file. Gunther Wagner used to work for Bowie. Well, you must have known each other.
Yes, sir, I knew him.
That's quite a coincidence, isn't it?
Not at all. I knew Gunther, and that's how I knew that he was working here. When he died, well, the rest is obvious.
You say so. Spencer, tell me what Gunther was like. I mean, when he really let his hair down.
Gunther had no hair.
You know, Spencer, sometimes I could almost like you.
Well, we weren't close. Gunther was a little too boisterous for my tastes.
I mean, he was a troublemaker.
He liked his fun. Myself, I didn't go in for that brand of humor.
What brand?
Oh, you know, a practical joker.
Oh. Gunther was a practical joker, was he?
Yes.
Like to pull stunts on people and make them a little uncomfortable.
That was his way, yes.
Spencer, did Gunther ever devise a practical joke that would have used blank cartridges?
You'll excuse me, please. What is this?
It's a surprise. I thought that we could have a little party since you're all... Oh, I didn't know you had company.
This is Mr. Damien Tyler, Detective Damien Tyler.
Hi. Listen, if you're busy, I'll come back another time, all right?
Wait a minute, miss. Don't I know you from someplace?
No, I don't think so. I'll see you later, Spencer.
She's someone I once knew. I didn't invite her here.
What did you say her name was?
I didn't. It's Nora Fulton.
Nora Fulton. She's the Kavanaugh secretary.
Raven, nobody bothers to cover up anything unless they have something to hide.
If your husband did take that watch from Gunther, he didn't want anyone to know about it.
But it was his own watch. Why shouldn't he try to take something that belongs to him?
But why be so secretive about it? Why go to all that trouble to fool the police?
Mike, there's something else we haven't mentioned yet. It's about Miles.
Yes, I was getting to that. Miles, would you like to say something?
Yes, maybe I should. Raven, you know what happened to me the night that Gunther was shot?
Yes, I know you were injured.
Yes, I was. You also know that your husband doesn't believe that I was injured. He made a public statement to the effect that I was lying, that I maliciously let Gunther bleed to death.
Oh, surely you don't believe that, Raven. You've known Miles far too long.
What does it matter what I believe?
It matters very much, Mrs. Whitney.
Go ahead, Miles. Tell her about it.
Look, Raven, I was right here at the time of the shooting, right here in this restaurant. When Jody came in and told us that Gunther had been shot, I went immediately to the studio. I found Gunther lying on the floor. He'd been shot in the abdomen, but he was still alive. I don't know whether I could have saved him. I can't say that for certain, but he was a robust, healthy man. If I could have stopped the bleeding, if I could have gotten him to the hospital right away, maybe. But I couldn't. Because apparently somebody didn't want me to.
All right, I don't want to hear any more
That
of this.
somebody was hiding in the studio. That somebody picked up that broken cane and knocked me over the head with it. I was unconscious for about an hour. That was more than enough time for Gunther to bleed his life away.
And you're saying that it was my husband? You all are sitting here saying that my husband's a murderer, and I'm not going to take any more of this slander. I'm not going to stay here any longer. Goodbye, traitor. Have a nice party.
The door's open.
Well, what do you think we accomplished with all this?
Maybe more than we know.
In the Bowie household, you and Gunther Wagner and Nora Fulton.
Staff was even larger. There were 2 more maids, a cook, and a gardener.
Must be nice to have money, huh? It's nice to have friends, too. Were you and Nora friends?
No.
She looked pretty friendly to me.
Well, that's the only reason and not mutual.
Look, was Nora hired before or after you were?
Both Nora and Gunther were there when I was hired. They were already having their relationship.
Nora and Gunther were having a relationship? Well, if they were together then, when was Gunther living with a woman named Roxanne?
Nora is Roxanne.
What?
She won't be happy to have people know that, but it's true just the same. Gunther hated the name Nora. He said it sounded like a maid, which of course Nora was.
Oh, she was not a secretary.
No, sir. She was Mrs. Bowie's personal maid. I suppose she may have done some secretarial duties, but not many.
Okay. Look, where did the name Roxanne come from?
Gunther read it in a book.
Are you serious? So Gunther renamed his girlfriend?
Yes, sir. Detective, I hope you won't repeat this story to the Kavanaughs. I wouldn't want to be responsible for Nora losing her job.
Why would Nora lose her job?
And I wouldn't like to lose my own job, which I think might happen if Mr. Whitney knew that I was speaking with you.
Look up, Spencer. I'll tell you what, I'll meet Mr. Whitney alone. Why don't you just take off?
Thank you.
Now you're going to arrest him? Oh, God, please, Damien. Don't do it. You're going to spoil everything.
Spoil what?
Oh, God, I want to go to Switzerland. Please, I want to go with my husband to Switzerland. Please don't do it.
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find. Always on my mind. faded day pass without sight, the edge of night, half dark, half light. Do you think we might wake up someday and be aware of all the games people play?
Oh, God. Now you're going to arrest him. Oh, Damien, don't. Don't. You're going to spoil everything.
Spoil what?
I want to go to Switzerland. I want to go to Switzerland with my husband. Please don't.
Raven, be calm. Look, I have absolutely no intention of arresting your husband. I don't have any grounds to arrest him.
Well, then what are you doing here?
Look, I'd like to talk to you about something else.
What?
Calvin told me that my car was going to try to organize a little party for you. He wanted to see if he can enlist your help in the Wiley
The
case.
unmitigated gall of those people. I have never been so insulted in all my life. How dare they?
Raven,
How
listen.
dare they accuse my husband? And they'll be very lucky if they don't have a slander suit on their hands. Do you believe the same thing?
I swear I do not want to harm your husband. As a matter of fact, I realized today that I've probably been treating him unfair. It's just that I've been so angry about not being able to get the truth behind Jefferson Brown. I've got to get hold of that man to get the facts to absolve my father.
How do you mean that?
Skylar Whitney is probably just a scapegoat for me. He's a substitute for Jefferson Brown.
Well, then why don't you tell those people to leave my husband alone about all the stupid watches? It has been so disgusting, all these accusations. They're acting as if Skylar should be on trial instead of Gavin Wiley.
Look, there was somebody who did not get to testify tonight.
Who?
Bobby Gerard.
The role of Jinx Avery is now being played by Susan McDonald.
What's 0 minus 0?
Nothing.
That's exactly what we accomplished tonight.
Is that true, Gavin? You confront the principal party because you try to create some kind of anger or guilt or something inside that pretty brunette head. It's worth a try.
Yeah, the last gaffes. Now we have no place to turn.
Okay, it might seem that way right now, but if Raven thinks about what she heard tonight...
You sure nobody wants coffee or dessert?
Not in the mood, Sue.
Boy, what a gloomy group. I don't know what that was all about tonight, but this is the craziest private party I've ever seen.
Maybe that'd make me feel better. Dessert. Hot fudge sundae.
Is that an order?
Yeah. How about anybody else? I'm buying.
I'll pass.
One hot fudge sundae.
All right, I still don't think we should be this depressed. Let's not forget, this is the first time Raven has heard the truth about Skylar.
Well, that's true. We do have to give it some time to sink in.
It's got a long way to sink. That woman has a very thick skin.
Okay, but she might go home and think about what we told her. And
It can't work, Jody. She's not going to rat on her husband.
Well, Gavin, come on. Mike didn't have that in mind. I mean, he just figured if she heard some of the facts, she might talk him into coming clean.
Mike Carr doesn't know Skylar Whitney. I don't even know why he bothered.
Gavin, he stuck his neck out for you. Hope you know that.
It's true, he really did.
Well, you do know why he did it, don't you?
It's because you wouldn't cooperate. Isn't that funny?
What do you mean?
It's because Gavin wouldn't change his story, Jody, because he kept insisting that he shot Gunther from up close when all the facts say that couldn't possibly be true.
Come on, Calvin. I just couldn't help it. I've tried to tell it the way everybody wants to hear it. I just can't.
Easy. No, I think it's a stupid story to tell the jury, but it did impress Mike.
Yeah, but it also might turn out to be a mistake.
I know that, honey, but I just have to tell it the way it actually happened.
The way it actually happened. Hey, I got an idea.
What is it?
Studio's only a couple of doors from here. Why don't we go down there and you show us what you say actually happened?
Hey, wait a minute. That studio's occupied. Jim Diedrichson's acting school's there.
Yeah, so you're a member of the group, aren't you?
Yeah?
So get us in.
Would you care for some more French fries?
Yes, sure, thank you.
Oh, please. Allow me.
Well, thank you. The service around here is wonderful.
Your slightest wish is our command.
Well, that's very comforting, especially coming from the Three Musketeers.
All for one and one for all.
Yeah, sometimes.
Tell me, did you all know each other in Hollywood?
Uh-huh. Dreamland.
Wonderland.
Lotus Land. Weird, but wonderful.
If you're working.
And did you work out there?
Oh, sure. All the time.
Oh, movies and TV. Became an awful grind, though, after a while. One day after another. I remember my agent had me up for 2 and 3 things at the same time.
Yeah, the pressure just wasn't worth it
And
after
then the
a while.
aggravation dealing with the producers about billing, about salary, trying to keep your agent in line and then trying to avoid the gossip columnists.
Is that why you left?
Yeah, success just wasn't any fun anymore.
Pretty lonely at the top, huh, Johnny?
Yeah, it really is a drag.
Well, I don't know why we ordered this bologna. I think we manufacture it ourselves pretty well.
Well, listen, you don't have to worry, guys. I didn't believe it for a minute.
Oh, heck, listen, Jimmy, who cares about TV and movies anyways? We're legitimate actors, right?
Right. I just wish some of those illegitimate producers would give us a break.
You never tried the Hollywood scene, huh, Jinx?
No, not me. I have only one ambition, to be a leading lady on stage just once before I die.
Oh, hello, folks. How was the dinner?
Depressing,
Yes, a little disappointing.
to say the least.
Oh, remind me never to go to that restaurant.
No, it wasn't the food. It was just the... Never mind.
The ambiance.
The ambiance, that's exactly what it was.
Well, I don't know. I'm not in such a hot mood myself this evening.
Oh, what's the matter?
It's not Adam, is it? He's all right, isn't he?
Oh, sure, he's fine. No, it's just me. I seem to be annoyed by everything easily these days.
Like what?
I had a visitor.
Who?
Your secretary, Nora Fulton, came by about an hour ago. She said she wanted to do a little work. It just seemed funny this time of night. And I wasn't sure that, she had your permission to be here, so I discouraged her from staying.
Yes, and?
And she left. But I've been worried about whether or not I did the right thing.
Is that all you're worried about? I'm sorry, forgive me, but after tonight's events, I just can't get worked up over that one. Please don't worry about it.
Well, would you like anything from the kitchen?
No, all I want right now is to go out and get out of these clothes and change into something more comfortable.
Would a drink help?
Oh, no, thank you, darling.
She looks tired.
Oh, she's fine. Just a disappointing evening, that's all.
Dr. Kavanaugh,
Yeah.
do you mind if I talk to you for a minute?
No, not at all. Go ahead.
I've been trying to decide for a long time whether to talk to you about this, but I think the time has come for me to say what's been on my mind.
I've never known you to pull any punches, Mrs. Goodman. You go right ahead.
Well, maybe I'm out of line in this, and if I am, so be it. This woman, Nora Fulton, has been saying things to me about you, and I think she's been insinuating the same things to your wife.
Insinuating what things?
Well, she told me, straight out, that you're having an affair with one of your patients.
She said that.
I swear to you, in those words tonight, And she's been hinting the same thing for weeks and weeks.
Well, was she any more specific than that?
Yeah, I guess you know who she meant. The actress, you know, who was here for the party that night, the Christmas party.
Miss Avery.
Yeah, that's her.
I see.
Look, I'm not usually a snitch. This hasn't been easy for me.
No, I understand. Look, don't worry about it. I will speak with Miss Fulton myself. You can count on that.
Look, if you want to tell her I told you, it's okay. I mean, I'm not going behind her back.
No, the only thing I would sort of like you to do, if you could, Mrs. Goodman, is to avoid saying anything to Nicole about this. She's got enough to contend with right now.
Oh, sure. I understand. And I hope I haven't gone beyond bounds.
No, you did the right thing.
I guess you know that you both are like my family, and I just couldn't bear to have any troublemaker come between you and Mrs. Cameron.
Miles, hey, I really think you should have something to eat before you go to bed.
Boy, that really must have been an awful meal. Hey, listen, I made a cake tonight, an almond cake. It really turned out well. How about a piece for both of you?
That sounds delicious. Maybe with a little tea, too.
Okay, coming right up. Oh, I'll get it. Kavanaugh residence? Yes, yeah, he's here. Just a moment, please. Doctor, it's for you.
Who is it?
I didn't get the name.
Hello? Oh, hello, Jinx. What's the matter?
Miles, I wanted you to be the first to hear my good news. I got an acting job. Well, sort of.
Really were looking for the watch the night they were caught in your house?
Yes, I knew it, but I don't believe a word of it. I think she just made the whole thing up to save her boyfriend.
The police believe her. They think that she saw Gunther with your husband's watch.
Do you believe her? The police are on Gavin's side.
It's not true, Raven. If it was, Gavin wouldn't be in custody facing a murder trial.
Then what did you mean about Bobby? What does she have to do with all this?
Look, Bobby Gerard is not a thief any more than Gavin and Jody were.
She stole his watch.
Yes, but not for keeps. Raven, can you tell me exactly what happened that night? What did Bobby do?
She tried to walk out the front door with the watch. She said she was going for a walk, and I remember Spencer stopped her because he was suspicious, and she had the watch. She said that she was upstairs dusting, and she dropped it and broke it and wanted to get it fixed before anybody knew about it.
Well, that sounds reasonable.
Well, I thought so, but Skylar didn't.
Was the watch broken?
The crystal was broken. It didn't work.
Was the music box broken too?
Yes, but we found out the following day that Skylar was right.
And that was the day that Bobby disappeared.
That's right. She walked out the front door with the watch, and she never came back.
I know.
So that's all I know about it. And that's all my husband knows about it. And I'm sick and tired of talking about watches.
Raven, Bobby Gerard stole that watch for Gavin Wiley.
What are you talking about?
She was looking for the same thing that Gavin and Jody were looking for when they were caught in your house. They needed proof that there were two watches.
Are you implying?
That your husband lied to the police. Bobby needed the proof. She couldn't get it because she was murdered.
Get out. I said get out of my house!
All right, Raven.
Oh, Jim, hi. We're not intruding, are we?
Oh, well, I was about ready to leave, but come on in.
Let me introduce some friends. Jody Travis, Gavin Wiley, Gavin Stoner,
Nice
the
to
maestro, Jim Dietrichson.
Howdy.
How you doing, Jim?
Hi. Well, are you all interested in acting?
Yeah, well, I guess tonight we are.
Seems like a rather dedicated group. What's going on?
Yeah, we'd like to try a little different kind of acting exercise tonight, okay?
Different?
Yeah,
We want to reenact a crime.
Crime? Great. Sounds like a good improvisation. What can I do to help you?
You know, I got an idea. Maybe, Jim ought to take Gunther's part. That way he won't have too many preconceived ideas, you know?
Well, I know a little bit about him from Cliff in the newspapers. He's the bad guy.
The classic villain, so to speak.
Yeah, well, I like bad guys. This should be fun.
I don't think I'm going to like this too much.
I don't think I'm going to like this either, honey, but I have to do it.
Okay, well, tell me about the situation. Who's going to be the director here? I need a director.
Well, I guess Gavin's the best equipped of us all. He's the one with the story.
Well, this guy was big, massive, taller than you.
Okay, I'll think tall.
And very muscular, thick neck, heavy shoulders, and his head was completely shaven.
Well, I'm not going to go that far. I'll just think bald.
If you just think monster, you should have it down perfectly.
Okay, I think I got it. He's big and menacing. What about his voice?
Very deep and resonant.
Like, okay, kid, you better do what I tell you. All right. Well, tell me the situation. Like, walk me through it.
Okay, let me set up. I was about here, I guess, and he was right about there. And at this point, I had the gun.
The gun?
Yeah.
Just a second. Why don't you use this as a prop?
All right, well, the argument between us had really developed a full head of steam. He was taunting me about my girlfriend, Jody, implying all sorts of ugly things about her. You see, earlier he tried to attack her. Now, I just wanted to get him out of the studio, so I gave him 10 seconds to get the hell out the door. Then he came towards me. I backed up to about here, where I couldn't go any other place. He came at me again. At this point, we grappled for the gun. We struggled. Boom, it went off.
Okay. Great. Great second act, Kurt. I want to get into this a little bit more. What was he wearing?
He's just wearing black pants and a plain white shirt.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Cliff, can you hold this, please? It is so strange being in this place again.
Yeah, I know. It feels really weird.
All the dancers, dance routines, rehearsals. 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's also the place I put the cuffs on you, old buddy.
Hey, I have no hard feelings about that.
Yeah, well, I wish you'd tell that to Dee Dee. She thinks I'm the worst friend in the world for what I did. I wonder if that's why she's gonna marry Julius.
Wait a minute. Did Julius propose to Dee Dee?
As far as I've been told.
Well, she couldn't have answered him, or else she would have told Mitzi, and Mitzi certainly would have told me. When did you find out?
Well, I stopped by the other day with Val and Kelly, and she gave me the good news. I mean, she hasn't said yes, but she hasn't said no.
Well, when did he propose to her?
Well, at the Christmas party, as far as I know.
So that's what they were doing in the kitchen all that time. Well, you see, what happened was that Mitzi and I were we were singing in the living room, and we didn't have any idea at all what was going on. Well, this must be really tough on you.
Well, it's her decision, not mine.
Look, maybe I should talk to Dee Dee.
Look,
Okay. You guys all take your places. We'll do a run through here.
Cute. All right, now, Gunther, I'm warning you. I'm giving you 5 seconds to get the hell out that door.
Don't try and fool me, kid.
Now, look.
You haven't got enough guts to pull that trigger?
Don't try me. This gun is loaded. Don't be stupid. I'll shoot. I swear I will.
Kid, let me just take that toy away for me before somebody gets hurt.
No.
Okay, Gavin, and what'd you do now, exactly?
I leaned down against the body. I pulled over.
Jim! Well, you guys wanted it real, didn't you? This is just a very simple stagecraft thing. It's a blood bag. It's filled with casein and vegetable dye, and you push against it in order to make a wound.
Getting so confusing.
All these people are trying to tell me that my husband had something to do with Gunther's death. And now Bobby's death. It's insane. Oh, Skylar. What's going on?
I was almost afraid to come home and face you, Raven.
I can imagine.
I'm sure you must feel I've acted very badly. But believe me, it was far more difficult for me to do what I did than you can possibly imagine. Skylar is my nephew, my only living relative. To you, it must have seemed like a betrayal.
What about me? I'm supposed to be like your daughter, a fact that you've mentioned with some regularity around here.
I still feel that way. That's the primary reason why I agreed to that meeting tonight. For your protection.
From whom? From what?
To keep anyone from harming you, even if it turned out to be your own husband.
Skylar would never harm me or anyone else.
Raven, please try to
You
understand.
are the menace around here, and you will no longer interfere in our lives. Because this may be the Whitney mansion, but I am the mistress, and you are no longer welcome in my house. Glittering International Playground of San Moritz offers the vacationer total excitement. I'm really gonna need this trip. Maybe it'll help me forget a few things. Sky, why aren't you home? Maybe I should call him. No, I'm not going to. Oh, thank God.
Oh, Spencer, bring that anti-shake case in, will you, when you come in?
Baby.
Hi.
I'm so glad you're here. I've been waiting for you all
What's up? Hey, you've been crying?
Oh, God, this has been the worst night of my life.
Oh, no, the worst night of your whole life. Oh, my poor baby.
It's true.
I'm sorry. Well, what happened? What happened? Tell me about it.
I went to Sid's Tavern and everybody was there and I thought it was a surprise party and then it was horrible and then I came home and I had this big fight with Geraldine and I threw her out of the house.
You threw Geraldine out? Good Lord, how come?
Can I get you something before you retire, sir?
No, no, not for me, Spencer. You want anything, honey?
No, I'm gonna go to bed. I'll talk to you up there, okay?
Okay.
The role of Jinx Avery is now being played by Susan McDonald.
You think you're gonna be able to sleep tonight?
Oh, I don't know. I'm so tired. Everything that happened at Sid's Tavern is just running around in my brain like a squirrel in a cage.
Well, I have the feeling we were expecting a little bit too much of that meeting.
I know, but I just kept hoping that Raven was going to break down and admit that she knew all along that Skylar had something to do with Gunther's death.
No. I didn't expect any true confessions, not from Raven.
Just wishful thinking, I guess.
I'm just worried we may have made a tactical error.
Why?
Oh, bringing up all that stuff about my getting knocked over the head. I mean, we don't know for certain Skylar Whitney was responsible for that.
Well, I do.
No, it's just guesswork, Nicole.
No, I honestly think that Skylar wanted Gunther to bleed to death, and the only way was to get you out of the way.
Tell me, what was his motive?
I don't know. Who knows? It's probably some sort of friction between them that nobody knew anything about. I just want to stop thinking about it. The whole thing is driving me to distraction.
Well, let me give you something else to think about then. Another kind of friction.
What?
Something tells me that Nora and Mrs. Goodman have not been hitting it off too well.
Well, that's true, but I've been trying to ignore it, just hoping it would go away.
Don't think it will. Mrs. Goodman tells me that Nora has been saying some vicious things. Has she said anything to you that might fall into that category?
Well, she is a bit of a gossip, yes.
Oh?
Well, I'm just going to have to make it clear to her that I don't want her to make any more insinuations.
About Jinx Avery?
Yes. Oh, among other things, anyway. Jinx has her sights on Derek Mallory.
Yes, she does. Even so, I'm not so sure that's a very good idea, considering the circumstances.
Why not? Wouldn't a loving relationship be the best thing that could happen to her at this point?
I was thinking about Derek, the effect on him. Anyway, we really don't know what's going on there. I just wish I knew what was going on in Nora Fulton's mind.
Well, who cares? Guess what's going on in mine?
Who is it? Johnny who?
Johnny Gentry.
Oh. Yes, hi. Come in. Let me turn this off.
Gee, I hope you haven't forgotten me already.
No, of course not. It's just that, well, I wasn't expecting you.
Who are you expecting?
No one.
Hey, you don't mind that I stopped by tonight, do you?
No, of course not. It's just that, I don't know what you want.
Well, I was hoping maybe you'd offer me a drink or something.
Sure, if that's what you'd like. Is a scotch all right?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Why don't you, sit down? This? Is that okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Now, you didn't answer my question fully. Besides a drink, what is it that you want?
I don't know. Well, usually when I meet a girl, she expects me to come around and, I don't know, be kind of friendly.
Oh?
This is a real nice place to be friendly in, too.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
Very nice. You know, I wouldn't even mind spending the night here instead of in the studio on that cold floor. It's just awful over there.
That's rather abrupt, don't you think?
Well, there's no sense in wasting any time, is there? Hey, you weren't offended by anything.
No, I'm too busy being amused. But as I look back on things, I don't remember giving you any signals.
Well, maybe, but it happens to me so often that I guess I just kind of take it for granted.
What a shame. You must be just snowed under with invitations constantly.
Yeah, I am. I mean it. You know what? It can become a real pain in the neck sometimes.
Must be quite a burden to bear.
You mind if I tell you something?
If you can't help yourself.
You're probably the prettiest girl I've seen all week.
Well, coming from such an expert, that's quite a compliment.
So you do like me?
How could any girl resist you?
Well, then?
But Johnny, listen, I think you're very attractive, and you're charming, and I don't want to hurt your feelings. I mean, if you were to stay here, I would have to sleep on that windowsill at the studio.
Well, I don't understand that at all, but... Well, if you feel that way, I guess it's okay with me, too.
I thought that you'd take it that way.
Oh, heck. I think it's better to really get to know somebody anyways, you know, long-lasting relationship, build it up slowly.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's much better when you know somebody a long time. Maybe next week?
Sure. Next week.
Look, Nora, you're just going to have to understand that this couldn't be helped. This Detective Tyler's been digging up my past. I don't know why, but he knows that I work for the Bowies and that you and Gunther were employed there, too.
You idiot! I suppose you told him that Gunther and I were lovers, too, practically man and wife.
I said nothing of the sort. Anyway, how could I when most of that is in your imagination? This may come as a blow, Nora, but Gunther would have never married you.
Don't you dare say that to me. I know better.
All right, if you say so, Nora.
Now, this better not get back to the Kavanaughs. That's all I care about. They'd better not find out about me and Gunther.
Oh, of course. They might suspect that you don't have their best interests at heart. Now, that would never do, would it?
If you only knew.
Oh, I know, Nora. When it comes to troublemaking, you get the grand prize.
The grand prize for me will be to see that marriage on the rocks. And I'm going to drive a wedge right in the middle of that blissful little relationship. You wait and see if I don't.
No, she didn't say a word about it to me. Okay. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Bye. Dee Dee? Why didn't you tell me?
Tell you what, Mitzi?
About Julius asking you to marry him. I think it's wonderful.
Mitzi, how did you know that Julius proposed to me?
Cliff.
Uh-huh. And he probably heard it from Calvin.
You see, I really like that move. You tell Calvin, but you don't tell me. Your roommate, your confidant, your best friend.
Mitzi, I really didn't want to talk about it just yet. For one thing, I haven't given Julius an answer.
All the more reason why you should have come to me first, so I can give you advice.
Now, why didn't I think of that? What is your advice, Mitzi?
Gee, I don't know. I mean, I know you like Calvin.
Oh, Mitzi, I don't want to talk about Calvin. Calvin and I are just friends. How many times do I have to say it? I don't get involved with married men.
Well, then I don't see what there is to think about. Maybe you should marry Julius. He's very attractive, he's very accomplished, and he's gonna make a lot of money.
I do like Julius. He's a good man. He's definitely the kind of man that any mother would be proud to see her daughter bring home. And if I let him go,
Sounds like you've already made up your mind.
But, Mitzi, I don't want marriage to interrupt my career.
Well, I'll tell you something, Dee Dee. Sometimes I wish marriage would interrupt mine. When are you gonna give Julius your decision?
I'm going to see him tomorrow.
Oh, hell.
Well, how's the patient?
What are you doing here at this hour?
Well, I came to tend the sick, of course.
Well, thanks,
They
but...
told me you got a hospital. Sorry I wasn't able to come over and bail you out.
Yeah, well, you can help me right now by getting out of here.
What? You mean you have no words of welcome for an old friend who's come to divert and entertain you with tales of mystery and intrigue?
I'm sorry, Calvin. I'm just not in the mood for stories right now.
Okay. Have it your own way. All I wanted to do was see how you were feeling and fill you in all about the bloodstained shirt. Hey, but if you're not interested, it's okay.
What? Hey, Calvin, wait a minute. Come back here. Come on in.
okay?
I'm fine. I just have a slight fever. I'll be okay pretty soon. Okay, will you go on with this and tell me what happened?
Okay, anyway. The surprise party at Sid's Tavern tonight turned out to be quite a fiasco.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look. Mike and Cliff laid the whole thing out for Raven, all about the 2 watches and Sky's possible involvement, etc., 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 etc. Well, she didn't buy it for a minute. She stormed out of the place in a blind rage, screaming slander and cursing everybody in the room.
Calvin, I really didn't think that setup was going to net Gavin much help.
Yeah, well, I still think it was worth a try.
Yeah, well, I don't understand what all of this has to do with a bloodstained shirt.
Patience, patience, I'm getting to that. Anyway, I got this brainstorm, see? That we should go over to the dance studio with Gavin, and he should show us exactly what happened the night that Gunther got killed.
Well, what did you think that would do?
Well, I'm getting to that, okay? So anyway, you know that this guy, Jim Dietrichson's got this acting school over there. So he played Gunther, Gavin played himself, and they danced around a little bit. Finally, they got to the point where the gun was actually fired. Bang! Dietrichson falls on the floor and lays there for a minute. Then Gavin turns him over, and he's got red blood stains all over his shirt.
What?
They use something called a blood bag. They put fake blood in this little rubber pouch, and when you press the spot, you get a realistic-looking blood stain. Now, how's that for a piece of theater magic? Get it?
Calvin, I'm sure this is really a fascinating story, but maybe when I'm not feeling so miserable, I'll be able to give it some serious thought. Right now, I'm lost.
You know, you do look really awful. You must have a fever. I better call the doctor.
Hey, no, that's not necessary at all. Look, it's my own damn fault. I guess I did something pretty stupid.
Huh. So what's different from your usual frame of mind? I think I'll get a refill. What was it this time?
Well, instead of coming home and going to bed like the doctor told me, I decided to pay somebody a little visit.
Don't tell me, let me guess. Mrs. Raven Whitney.
Yes, that's right. And we had a very interesting conversation about Bobby Gerard.
Bobby Gerard?
Yeah, Bobby Gerard.
It's dreadful. It was just dreadful, and it was such a shock because she planned the whole thing. Geraldine masterminded the whole thing.
It's incredible.
And then we got to Sid's Cafe, and all those people were standing around there like a bunch of vultures.
The nerve of them. You know, I think I may just end up suing them, or maybe I'll end up having that smug DA thrown out of his cushy job.
Stupid people. They were all standing around judging like it was some sort of a kangaroo court. And they were making dreadful accusations about you.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Don't you worry, baby. They'll get theirs. I'm going to see to that. There are ways, you know.
And the worst part of it is that Geraldine is in cahoots with them.
Yeah, dear, sweet, lovable old Geraldine.
And then I got home and Damien Tyler was here.
What's that?
When I got to the house, he was waiting here for me.
Again, what did he want this time?
Skylar, you know what? He was asking questions about Bobby Gerard. And he said that she wasn't really here to rob us, that she was trying to help Gavin Wiley. And that's why she came here to the house to snoop.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she was a plant from the cops. Or from the DA's office, maybe. You know, they'll stop at nothing to get Wiley off.
I think we should forget about the whole thing.
No, I'm not going to forget about it. I'm going to get revenge, baby. You'll see, don't you worry.
No, please don't make a fuss. I just want to forget about all of them and everything. And I want to go to Switzerland. And I want to see the Alps. And I want to breathe that fresh, wonderful air. And just maybe I'll never, never, never come home again.
me the watch.
Physical symptoms? Jinx, I can't hear you.
Miles, I had such a horrible dream. And the worst part of it was when I woke up, I realized that my nightmare was better than my reality.
Well, don't just lie there and think about it. Read a good book or see a late movie on TV or something.
That won't do any good. My mind will keep coming back to it. Miles, I have to see you.
That's not possible.
Miles, you said that you make house calls. Why don't you make one to my house?
That's only in case of emergencies.
Well, what do you think this is?
I meant a physical emergency, something that is life-threatening.
Well, that's where you're wrong. You know what I've been thinking? I've been thinking that the worst part of this whole thing is the waiting. That it's much better just to get it over and done with right away.
Please, now don't talk like that.
Miles, please, I need to see you. Please, I want to talk to you. I'm really scared.
I'll see what I can do. Bye.
She wants you to come over there, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's having a bad attack of nerves.
Nerves? Just
well,
nerves?
she's in a state of depression. She's making threats about taking her own life. That's the only way to get her back on track is to go over there.
Miles, please. I don't want you to go.
I don't know, Chief. I mean, I, for one, am really worried about the guy. Look, the last time I was over at the hospital, Doc Ramos told me the only way he'd let Damien out is if he promised to go straight home and to bed.
And he didn't?
No, he left the hospital and he went to, somebody's house.
I mean, somebody's house. He went to the Whitney house, didn't he?
Yeah, well, look, all he wanted to do was say bon voyage.
Bon voyage. Are they going somewhere?
Yeah, they're, going to Europe on a second honeymoon or something. As a matter of fact, Tyler says they'll probably be gone all winter.
And so he thought it was so important to say goodbye to them that he disobeyed doctor's orders?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is that they weren't even there when he got there, so the whole thing was for nothing. I don't know, last time I saw him, he looked like he was running a pretty high fever to me.
Calvin, why is it some of the brightest people I know are always dumb in two areas? Their own health and women. Yes, Mallory.
Derek, it's Miles.
Miles, you're up awfully late.
Well, I did not plan it that way. Listen, I just took a chance I might still find you at your desk.
You know, if you'd called me 10 minutes from now, you wouldn't have found me here.
Well, then maybe my timing is perfect. Listen, I have a favor to ask of you. It's about Jinx Avery.
Jinx? Oh, wait, what about her? Is she not sick again?
No, it's nothing physical. I mean, no fainting spells or anything like that. She has had another kind of a fall, this time in spirits.
No, what do you mean?
Listen, I know that you've been seeing her now and then, right?
Yeah, that's true. I have been seeing her.
Well, otherwise I would not have presumed. Look, she seems to be depressed. Seriously depressed.
What, did she call you up to tell you this?
Yes, and I don't think she would have unless the problem were extreme.
Miles, what is the problem? What's put her in this state?
Well, I suppose it's career problems, mostly. I'm sure she's talked to you about it.
Oh, yes, she has talked about this, but you think there's something I can do? Should I call her?
Well, I think it probably would have to go a little bit further than that. She needs somebody to hold her hand, to talk to her, to make her feel like she's not alone.
Yeah, I understand that.
Look, I realize this is a tremendous imposition.
No, it's not an imposition at all. As a matter of fact, I'm very glad that you called.
In other words, you will go see her?
Yes, I'm just going to put a sweater on now, and I'll go right over to see her.
Oh, thank you very much.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay. Bye-bye. Calvin, we're finished with this stuff. Look, I change. I gotta go see a sick friend.
It's fine by me. As a matter of fact, I was just thinking about the same thing. Ciao.
Ciao.
Oh, I feel so ashamed of myself.
Hey, cut it out. It's okay. Derek will see her. He'll be more help to her than I could have been.
Oh, no, that's not true. She wanted you there. If she wanted Derek, she would have called him.
I'm her doctor. That's why she thought of me first.
Yes, but she's dependent on you. You give her strength. Unfortunately, I'm dependent on you, too.
You think I want to leave my nice warm bed? My nice warm wife?
But you would have gone over there if I hadn't made you stay here.
Maybe. But Derek will be better medicine for her than anything I could have prescribed.
Yes, but you are the only one that she can talk to about her situation.
I know. Well, that's the point. Derek doesn't know. He won't be a reminder to her. He will represent life.
And love?
Well, that's something she needs very much right now. Only medicine's going to do her any good.
Yes, I suppose so. But I just wonder if Derek is the solution.
Who are you? Bobby, is that you? Bobby, you gotta help me. You learned something in the Whitney house. You found something.
The watch.
Of course, you found the watch. Where is it? Where did you go when you left the house?
Gavin. Gavin.
No, you couldn't have seen Gavin. You must have seen somebody. Who was it? Bobby. Bobby, if you want to help Gavin, you gotta help me.
The watch.
Give it to me.
I found it.
Give it to me.
Like the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throne monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the something something, his something something. But mercy is above the sceptred sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings, etc., etc., etc. Thank you.
Your turn. Yes, your turn.
I think I might have forgotten some of the words.
No, listen to him out there. It was great. Listen, you're gonna be a star. Come on, get out there, you. Come on.
Thank you.
Bride and groom will approach the bench. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are gathered here today in the sight of God in this courtroom to decide whether this man and this woman should be united in holy matrimony.
Your Honor, I object.
Objection overruled. Attorney Julius Newcomb, you take this woman to be your junior partner.
Full partner, Your Honor.
A junior partner to have and to hold from this time forth, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, so long as ye both shall practice.
I do.
Dorothy Bannister.
Objection. My name is Dee Dee, Your Honor.
Please raise your right hand.
You didn't make him swear on the Bible.
It's different in your case, honey.
Counselor.
Okay, honey, put your hand on the book. I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I still don't see what this has. All right. All right, I swear.
Dee Dee Bannister, do you take this corporate lawyer to be your legal spouse? Do you promise to love, honor, and obey him?
Objection.
The bridegroom will ignore that last remark.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you promise to love, honor, and cherish him for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer?
You won't have to worry about that part.
Forsaking all others, so long as ye both shall live.
Forsaking all others?
Have you reached a verdict, Miss Bannister?
Yes, I suppose I have.
Wait! Your Honor, I object.
Calvin!
Who are you? I'm a police officer, and I'm here to arrest this woman.
On what charge?
Grand larceny. She's stolen my heart.
Objection! Your Honor, objection!
Restrain that man! Order in the court. Dee Dee Bannister, it is the judgment of this court that you will accept the marriage proposal of Julius Newcomb as the only proper and sensible course in your life. Now say, I will. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it.
I will. I will. I have to.
Miles? I can't stop thinking about what I just did.
You didn't do anything.
Oh, yes, I did. I forced you to do something that went entirely against your grain. I know how you are with your patients.
Nicole, I promise you, there's very little I would have been able to do for Jinx except just be with her.
Did you want to be?
No. Of course not.
Are you sure Derek is going right over there?
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't hesitate 2 seconds when I asked him to.
Oh, it seems so unfair to him to invest all that emotion in somebody who's so sick.
Maybe
Maybe what?
Well, I was just about to say that If things do start to get really serious between them, maybe I ought to have a little talk with Jinx. Just to urge her to share the truth with Derek.
You think she'd agree to do that?
I don't know.
I think she'd lose him. I mean, not that he'd turn away from her, but it just wouldn't be the same. It couldn't be.
Well, it wouldn't be easy. But it would have to be her decision. I certainly couldn't tell Derek. Nor could you.
I know. Your promise.
It's a promise that can't be broken, Nicole. Not ever.
Derek, what are you doing here?
I am waiting to see whether or not you're going to let me come in or chase me away.
How did you know I was even... I mean, you know, most nice girls don't accept callers at this time. It must be 1:30 in the morning.
Well, no, it's closer to 2.
Oh, wait a minute. Miles called you.
Yes.
I see. He didn't want to come, so he sent a substitute.
Now, look, Miles couldn't come, and I did want to come.
I see.
You don't have to accept the substitute. Just close the door in my face.
No, come in.
So good so far. Look, Miles called me and told me that you were feeling very depressed. And he knew that I was still at the office, but I knew that he was home in bed, still trying to get some sleep. He's got to be at the hospital very early in the morning. You wouldn't want him to fall asleep in the middle of curing a patient, would you?
No.
But if you think I should, I'll go.
No, please, come in. Let me have your coat. Oh, I'm sorry I acted that way.
Thank you.
Really, it's just that I don't know, I was looking forward to seeing a doctor. I thought he could cheer me up, give me a magic pill or a shot, something to bring the rainbow back.
Well, I'm afraid in that regard I won't be much good.
You don't have to worry about that. Listen, why don't I get you a glass of wine? Would you like that?
Yeah, I'd love a glass of wine.
Good. I'll join you. Maybe that will make me feel a little better, cheer me up. We could do a little talking.
Well, that usually picks me up when I'm feeling depressed.
Do you feel depressed often?
I think I feel depressed too often, but that comes with the job. Maybe that comes with living alone for too long.
Well, why don't you tell me a little about it? I mean, about your work, and I'm really interested to know what you think about when you're feeling down or depressed.
You want to hear about police work?
I do.
All right. In the morning, I start off with the criminals, and by the afternoon, I've worked up to the victims. And by the time I go home at night, it's very difficult not to believe the whole world is a cesspool. There's the cesspools. It's a tough struggle not to become cynical or bitter or unfeeling.
Well, I could never see you that way.
Believe me, I have been, and that's why I'm still single. But look, I came over to cheer you up, not depress you.
Oh, no, you're not. Please, keep talking. You have no idea how much it's helping.
Well, I think the point of what I was trying to say is that, sure, everybody knows a policeman's work is hazardous, but I think the real hazard is probably to a policeman's emotions, dealing with the pain and suffering. You can get through it. It's a great work.
And seems like you like to work a lot.
It may not be much of a life, but without my work, I wouldn't have any life.
Well, I think that work's very important. As a matter of fact, that's why I've joined this group. Well, it's not a job, and it's not really much of a group either.
Well, tell me about it. Come on.
Well, it's a bunch of young hopefuls, you know, hoping for a bright future. But sometimes I think that they're really fooling themselves about the future. But then I think we all do that sometimes.
Well, you like them anyway?
Well, yes, they seem very nice. As a matter of fact, one of them was just here a couple of hours ago. I know, I think he's the matinee idol. Johnny Gentry, he calls himself. I don't think that's his real name.
What was he doing here?
Well, he just rang the doorbell and, I don't know, wanted to spend the evening with me.
Just like that?
Yes. I get the feeling that most women just usually fall at his feet at the mere invitation.
Well, he didn't force himself on you, did he?
No, he didn't. No, just put down your badge, Chief. I think he thought he was doing me a favor. That's show business.
Yeah, well, maybe he can deal with me the next time he comes around here.
Now, settle down. Don't be so indignant. I mean, this is hardly the first time that I've been propositioned.
How'd you get rid of him?
Oh, very easy. I just told him that I never sleep with men I don't like. And I don't like men I don't know. And he was very nice about it.
It doesn't make me like him very much.
You're getting very angry.
Yes?
And a little resentful.
Yes?
And maybe a little jealous.
Yes.
Well, you don't have to worry. Because I feel like I know you. Derek Mallory.
What the hell? I've called you a dozen times. I thought you were drunk or dead in here.
I'm not dead yet, Calvin.
You know, you really are crazy, you know, that I got a good mind to get on the horn and call an ambulance.
You do that and I'll deck you.
Yeah, sure. Tough guy. You gotta stand up first. Here, come on. I'll cover you up before you freeze to death.
Oh, hey, don't worry about me. I'm gonna be just fine. I saw Bobby Gerard in this room, Calvin.
Now you really do need a hospital. You got the DTs.
No, I wanted to ask her where she went after she left the Whitney mansion.
She could have gone anywhere, Tyler. I mean, she could have gone to Hoffman's Antique Jewelry if she'd made it there.
Calvin, listen to me. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I know you're just sick.
Calvin, this is not just some crazy idea. Listen, it was Sky Whitney who drove Bobby Gerard into the woods and killed her.